So hello and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live from the Full Speed Event Studio. Been a busy week, I've been planning for lots of different events as well. Got loads on, but managed to get out on the bike earlier on, and got to say a massive thank you to the guys at Continental. The reason I got this on, save it again today with a little bit of an interesting moment because it absolutely pelted it down mid-ride, and there was a whole load of debris came down and didn't get a puncture once, which was just as important as anything else. But the Four Seasons, more importantly, gripped like a sticky thing as I messed it up on a corner. So a big thank you to the team down there. My name's Matt Payne. I'm going to be bringing you all of the action on the Donny Chaingang once again. And of course, we are coming to you live out on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel, on the Full Speed Events YouTube channel, and of course on the Donny Chaingang Facebook page. Quick reminder, make sure you jump onto the About bits and all of the details on the ticketing to know how to jump on, how and where and when we ride, and exactly what the Chaingang is all about. Remember, it's not a race, but it almost always turns into one, and it ain't easy, that is for sure. Now, the Chaingang is brought to you because we have the support for our members of the guys up there. 1080 with the best optics in the business. OTE, who are supporting us all of September. This is the last of the OTE weeks and rides. And of course, the gang who are part of Gritty, Continental, Velaskin, Halo, and Nonus, all looking after all of our riders who are members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. The Donny Chaingang Supporters Club donate. We say thank you. Say, do you know what? We know these great guys up there, and they're going to look after you, and they do. So at the moment, there's 25% discount off OTE, 20% off Gritty, extra discount off 1080, 20% off Velaskin, 10% off Halo, and Halo, of course, are going to be our sponsors, Beacon supporters next month. So make sure if you haven't signed up for October already, you do so. And that ticket open now all the way through. And after the ride tonight, we'll be opening the October right the way through to the end of the season. So if you fancy just doing it in one big block, donating for the lot to the end of the season, and that is obviously reduced down in price because it is all of October. Now, we've got a great ride coming up, and let's tell you where we're heading. Always important on the Donny Chaingang because our riders need to know. They're on the 2015 UCI Worlds course. This is in Richmond, and as you can see, we're going to be using the standard course that we've used before. Let's look at that in a little bit more detail. So you can see on the left hand side of your screen the map. It's a standard map where you set off along what is essentially the flat section of the course around what is the fan flats part of the route, the panhandle and the main part of the plough, dropping down then in towards the lower sections by the riverside before coming up Libby Hill, 23rd Street, Broad Street, coming back in up the final climb and in to the line, finishing at the banner. We have a leading of 0.5k. We have 3 laps of 16.2, which means we finish at 49.1 kilometres at that world's gantry. Then there's a 900 metre warm down. Total elevation 426 metres, and tonight the course is going to favour those people who get the right power-ups. Remember, we have all power-ups engaged except for the Brito. Way too negative for the Donny Chaingang. We're all about being positive here. And the man who's going to positively lead everybody in the right direction, the Pied Piper of the Donny Chaingang himself, it is our Yellow Beacon, the legendary rider in the shape of Russ Downing from Downing Cycling. Russ already down on to the start lap. So essentially, it's likely that Russ will follow the standard format of 1 lap easy, 1 lap tempo, and then at some point there will be some kind of trigger. That is the infamous go, go, go. When that happens, Russ will be fighting his way into the finish to see if he can test our riders. And whilst he's been busy doing that, the man who will be mopping up our riders at the back is the one and only John Garfoot. As you can see from his jersey, he's part of the Royal Navy and Royal Marines Cycling Association, a man who comes unseen and normally in his day job. Of course, this time round going to be mopping up from the back, a man who's more than qualified, not only to kill you with his bare hands, but just as importantly, to be able to look after you as well. So, part of the Royal Navy and Royal Marines Cycling Association, and John, a regular on the Chaingang, regular rider up and finding it out at the front, but John in the riding. Good to see John already on board, ready to do the business as our red beacon at the back of the gang. And essentially, once that go happens, I think John is going to start to find a very busy bus indeed. And John, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, absolutely love the picture of the steam-driven bus. Definitely one of my favourites so far. So that's our beacons. Let's head over to our profile. Now, as you can see, we use the profiles from VeloViewer. VeloViewer, absolutely key supporters, Ben Lowe and all of the gang. Make sure you jump on their website, onto VeloViewer. If you're on Strava, like most of the universe seems to be these days, then make sure you go on and link your VeloViewer account to your Strava account. You get so much data, so much stats on there, and of course you get to look at what's going on. I'm lucky enough to be one of the pro commentary team who get pro membership, and we actually get a lot more detail. So on all the major stage races, we see what the DSs see as well. So we get a little bit more data. But what you can see up on your screen, let's bring that up full screen. And this is what you can get. Just one example. You can go on the site, spin it, turn it, twist it, stretch it. You can put it into any format you want. You can have it in 2D, 3D. But this gives you an indication of just how hilly it is, and just as importantly, where those yellow and red bits are. So we go around this course in an anti-clockwise direction for those people old enough to have clocks with hands. So starting off at the top, we are on that top upper plateau. We drop down that long descent, making our way past the 9k marker along the flat of 10k, 11k, come around the turn, and then through and onto the climb. Now, that first climb of Libby Hill, bright yellow, going into that 10% marker. We go up into the orange on the second of our climbs. That's the second cobble climb. And then we have the long road climb that leads us up at about 15.5 to take us into 16 kilometres of the course. Make sure you jump onto VeloViewer and get a look at exactly what is happening on the course. Really, really important. And remember, guys, make sure that when you're on there, you stay around yellow. Now, we're going to take a quick dive across. Quick reminder, guys, make sure you support the people if you support your sport. They're up there on the top of the screen, and they are absolutely key, not just for the Donny Chaingang, but the WOW DCG, and should be getting a guest down in the studios a little bit later on to give us a bit more details on that as well. No prizes for guessing who that's going to be. So whilst our riders are getting ready, let's head over to that grid at the moment. And as you can see, these riders are all lined up and ready to go. We can get a real quick check across and see just who is where. We're going to try and go out from the pen with the one and only Russ Downing, who is in on that line at the moment. So we're heading in to our final 10 seconds or so now on your screen. So time for us to get down on to that ride as the clock ticks down and out. So here we go, our riders away. Let's follow Russ off from that line. We're in with Russ at the moment, and this is all about getting out in one piece. So our ride away here on the Donny Chaingang, and our riders certainly looking like they've got this pretty much dialed as they set off on to the course at the moment. So our riders up and away. We are going to jump in with them. And you can just see the riders now turning onto the course proper. I got to say a massive thank you to Tom Lindley, giving people a heads up that they were going to find themselves out on the course with an update hitting them just as they logged on. So remember, jump onto that Facebook page. Just in with John. We're watching to make sure everybody's got out from the line. Chris Gale on his way out at the moment, so just in with Chris. Now, one of the things we will be doing tonight, we are going to be making sure that we give away plenty of goodies. 6 sets of kit going out from our fantastic sponsors. That is OTE, as we ride in with John Garford. So let's just jump in alongside John as he starts to head out. John, one of our regular riders on the Donny Chaingang, has done these right the way from the start. A regular, he knows the score inside out, popping up the messages as well. All out and riding, which is what we want to see. And if we just take a look, you can see that Greg Pillsworth just in front of John Garford, just going to bring John back in to the fold, I suspect. And these two riders will start to mop up a little bit of a split in the main group at the moment, about midway through. And it looks like we've got a string of riders are just out and away behind our main pack. So that's all going to need to come together. We're just in with Andy Watson at the moment. Raccoon just making his way in. Looks like Neil from the Crosscast in that group there. That pack at the moment well strung out. You can just see Russ at the back just holding things back a little bit. The Keen Beans already up and running. So whilst Russ gets this back together again, and he pulls everybody in, we'll get our helicopter up in the sky. Let's give away some great OTE goodies, because remember, of course, the Donny Chaingang only exists because Russ and I get the support of the Donny Chaingang, and the Donny Chaingang gets the support of all of our great sponsors you can see on the bottom of the screen there. 1080 Continental, Velaskin, the team from Halo Wheels, as well as Nonnas and Gritty, and of course OTE, who it is OTE month. Now we've got some more of these great starter packs. They've basically got great duo bar, thank goodness for one of those today. They've also got the hydro tabs, even better, and they've got the anytime bars. Went through a few of those, didn't go through any gels today, I must admit, on my ride today. A bottle in there and a great bag to keep it all in as well. And of course OTE are getting those out to the members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. So how does it work? Well, it's really simple. The Donny Chaingang Supporters Club members get a number from number 1 is 80 right the way through to our last number, which is Wayne Van Rye, and Miss Cookie, in fact, actually comes last because she gets a symbol rather than her name, because on there, just to mix things up a little bit. The random number generator rolls, and when that stops, that will stop on a number. That number will correspond to a member. 6 people have already won. It's one rider, one prize. So the 6 people who won starter packs last time not going to get anything. So we are going to be giving away some more kit. So here we go. Who's going to be the first one in there? It is going to be number 50. Now, this is a man who's not on the Chain Gang tonight, but is somebody who's definitely in our thoughts at the moment. It is the one and only legend from the In Real Life DCG, as well as being on the gang, because number 50 is Finn Donahoe. Finn, I know you're watching, and randomly, the random number generator has done a really good job because it's pulled you out. So, buddy, you've got a OTE pack that's going to be winging its way to you with all of the goodies that you see on the screen at the moment, and that's going to be heading towards Vin. So first of all, giveaway's done, and Vin Donahue taking away our first pack, our first prize here today. At the moment, the gang out and rolling and working well, and as you can see, the ride heading out. So here we go. Let's just take a little bit of a dive down. We're in with our beacon. So the random number generator pops it up Vin Donahoe as the first one. So our rider's on the way through. So Tom's just let Vin know he has won. Tom, one of the proteges from Vin Donahoe, along with a few of the other riders on the gang, and I'm sure he'll be glad to know that he's just won a pack of OT, one of the keen supporters. Always rides in the Downing Cycling Coaching Works top as well when he's out in real life on the rides, as well as on the Chain Gang as well. So our riders heading out towards that panhandle, so on the way through. And pretty sure he'll be tuned in. So congratulations to Vin. And he's in there, so... So the rider's heading out, and let's just drop down in alongside John Guffer as he makes his way down this straight in with the rest of the group, and the riders making the way in and through. Looking good at the moment. So just catching up with the messages on the board and watching what's been happening whilst we've been busy. So great to see that people talking to us about being riding out on this course. It is a brutal course to race on in real life. Russ doing the business of course racing out in the States. It's a brutal course to race on when you're on a ride on Zwift, and of course it is just as brutal when you're on, if not more so, on the DCG, because generally Russ will be planning on pushing everybody up to the limit before it goes. So now it's going to be really interesting to see. Now we've got a few of our riders making the way back. One of them, of course, is the one and only Xander in here. So Xander Graham in here riding for the Jukebox squad, famous of course to being the guest member of the Jumbo Visma squad on the Tour of Britain just over 12 months ago, and Xander in the gang here, so great to see him in here. So nice one, Xander. Good to see you back on the gang, tucked in nicely in the middle of the mix. So a young man who knows this inside out. Good to see we've got Cindy Gagan back on the gang again. So Cindy, one of the Aeonian squad, part of the team that our Wow DCG Yellow Beacon is part of. Of course, most people will know that Emma not riding at the moment, and but was busy DSing, being the director sportive for the team time trial. She's been a DS for the events so far on Tuesday night for one of the Aeonian squads, and I think we'll ask her how she's got on the way through. Not the only Aeonian rider with us here tonight, though, by any stretch of the imagination, because as usual, great support from the Aeonian gang. Don't forget, of course, the WoW DCG is going to be back on as well. That's going to be kicking off next week. Good to see that Miss Cookie is took nicely in the gang. Miss Cookie in here. The rider who gets a symbol rather. She's so infamous. She gets a symbol on the database rather than getting anything else. Not the Prince type symbol, but a cookie type symbol. What else would you expect? So here we go. Let's have a little bit of a look. We've got Richie Woodall in the Gagassi's in here. Jess is in here. Jess Rice Boats. Jess, of course, from Jess Evans, who rides for as an ambassador for ASOS. Put your teeth in, Matt, amongst others. And great to see Jess back in with us as well. Paul Malin tucked on the back of the group. At the moment, our riders still making their way around the flatter section. We've got a little bit of a drop down here as we come into the sharp 90-degree left-hand turn. It's very interesting as our riders go around if you're riding on the farm flats, but that's, of course, we're probably never going to touch again given any choice at all. You can see we've got young Mr. Beagley back in with us again, and Russ, of course, tucked in nicely. Will there be a late join strategy on this course? I don't think I would bother, to be honest, but we'll see. So we've got Chris James from Ilkeston CC, got young Mr. Howlett on here, Steve Wilson, not quite as young as he was, Simon Booth. Simon had a great ride on Tuesday, and could well have been the rider in the mix that he could have taken it. Didn't take it in the end. If you want to know who won, make sure you go look back on the footage. You can pick it back up, look back either on the Facebook page or on the Downside or on the Full Speed Events YouTube feeds, and you'll find it on there. Just seen that we've got our second rider from the Aeonian. This is Joe Jarvis. Joe, a regular on the Donny Chaingang and on the WOW DCG, another great rider for the Aeonian, scoring that really distinctive kit. And of course, Aeonian working really, really well at the moment. So just in with Joe. So Joe going well at the moment and just making her way in and through. So Joe just making her way through. And looking pretty comfy in the group at the moment. So our helicopter just up in the air, up in the skies above our riders. And certainly the group all together at the moment. Still not yet approached that downhill section. But going to be on the way down. Now, Joe Jarvis used to live on this course in real life. Joe, of course, a rider who has just taken, I love the fact that she's just taken the Broad Street Sprint jersey actually on the course that she used to live on. Brilliant stuff. And somebody who should know exactly how this rolls. That's for certain at the moment. So whilst Joe Jarvis is diving her way down here in the group, our riders working well together at the moment. That's a group pretty much all together. Interesting to see. We've got some anvils going in already on this descent, using them up on here. They don't off work. They make you so quick. It's scary, scary. Absolutely love them when they are riding and when you're on there. Now, as the gang start descending the way down, joining me down in the studio is the head honcho of the WOW DCG, Not riding at the moment, but back in the studio somewhere where she seems to have spent quite a lot of time at the moment. Let's bring in Emma. So welcome, Emma, to the studio. Good to have you back in here once again.
Yeah, hi Matt, good to be back. You're quite right, I'm spending a lot of my time down here in the studio rather than riding a bike at the moment.
I know, and that is not out of choice, obviously.
No, not out of choice at all. I am 2.5 months off the bike now, and it's going to be 3 months till I've got my appointment with a cardiologist to see if I can have the all clear and get back on.
Well, that is going to be that's going to be frustrating.
Yeah, and you've been on the other end of it.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. In fact, I've only got the continental cap on because I've got no hair left after having it put up with it for that long. Now, for those of you watching, you'll know that the screen at the top says Wednesday, 6 p.m, 5th of October. That's not because where we are now. We're currently in Richmond, but this is because that's where we're heading next week, because it's the first WOW DCG.
It is indeed, so the WOW DCG is back. We said October, the 5th of October is the first Wednesday of the month, and we will be rolling every week right the way through until the end of March.
So rolling out every week, and next week is the first week. Let's pull some details up of where you're going to be heading. So first week, Emma, London.
Yeah,
Greater London Flat. Why are we going to Greater London Flat on the very first one?
Greater London Flat has got to be the Donny Chaingang favourite course. So we are kicking off with an absolute classic, Donny Chaingang Classic for the first WOW DCG. I am so gutted I am not going to be riding. I am going to be down here in the studio with you, Matt, and taking the yellow beacon for us is the wonderful Sammy Stewart, and we have our red beacon as well, the wonderful Miss Cookie.
So Sammy Stewart, Counts Basso rider, solo breakaway specialist, and of course regular Donny Chaingang and WOW DCG rider, and a real character. I love watching her. I think it was at Southend-on-Sea potentially, giving away the bottles to the kids afterwards and riding around, high-fiving people. She's a great rider to have as a ride leader.
Oh, she is. She red beacon for us a couple of times last season and jumped in as quickly as possible for every red beacon call I put out. But when I asked her, I mean, I'm not joking, she came back to me within about 8 seconds of me sending her a message asking her if she'd be yellow beacon for us in October.
Excellent, and that is great to great to hear that people have been jumping in. But of course, we're not just going to Greater London Flat. That's week one. What else have the riders got in store?
Yeah, so we have a number of courses throughout October. So Greater London Flat, the first one. We've got a new course for the Chaingang, Eastern 8 in Mortopia. We're going that last second on the 12th of October. And Millie Skinner, another WOW DCG regular winner, in terms of taking across that line first. Millie will be yellow beacon that week. We are indeed in Richmond, but we are doing the Libby Hill after party in Richmond for week 3. And then RGV with the Ballon Sprint finish for the 26th of October, the special course that we put on for the WOW DCG.
And who have we got for yellow beacons on our Libby Hill and RGV?
So Libby Hill, yellow beacon will be Becky Story.
Wow. Okay, so Becky Story, a rider who has gone on and absolutely annihilated riders out there on the national road scene. Cams Basso rider again on there on week 3, and then
the final week in October, Alison Kinlock, who was yellow beacon for us last season, fresh off her first ride of the Three Peaks Cyclocross last weekend. Well, she will be in 4 weeks' time when she takes the yellow beacon at the end of October.
Excellent, and a very experienced pair of hands, which is what we look for on the WOW DCG and DCG leaders. So great to see how they're going on. It's going to be really interesting to watch that. And Emma, how do the riders join up?
Yeah, so there are a number of different ways actually, Matt. So on any of the social media feeds you will see links to where you can join. You can join on the Donny Chaingang website. You can join on Ticket Tailor, and you can go straight on. So we are running the first WOW DCG Open on Zwift, so you'll find it on the events page as well. Wow,
so you can just go join. So that's a bit of a gamble then. You're hoping that everyone's going to behave themselves.
We are. Having been a yellow beacon for other non-DCG women's-only rides on Zwift. I tend to find that the women-only rides have behaved themselves a lot better than the open rides. So we're going to give it a go. So you can become a member of the Donny Chaingang and, of course, get all the benefits of that. But you can also click on the events page on Zwift for free and join the ride there.
Yep, excellent. So looking forward to that. Make sure, guys, you get signed up. You can sign up in the usual way. Register on Ticket Tailor's site, on the Full Speed event site. You can, if you're a member of DCG Gang, get the links direct to your inbox. You don't need to register. And of course, you can just click on the link on the night for the World DCG. So I think, Emma, we better get back across to the action because our riders are about to hit the one and only Libby Hill, and you are going to be going back there as the Libby Hill after party, aren't you? We're just riding in with Tom Elliott, but this is a particularly tough course, isn't it, to ride and race on?
Yeah, and it really kicks here. You know, you turn the corner and it just keeps going, and we're currently at 10-11% on this climb, and you just turn onto these cobbles and it keeps going.
It does just keep on going, doesn't it? And I think that, for me, is the critical part of it here, because as you make your way up this climb, you can just see it kicks up and round, and the finish is round that corner. We're just going to see the turn around the hairpin, and just up in front, the cobbles come in. But having the steamroller here is critical, isn't it?
It is really useful. I mean, it's quite a short climb, but it's so deceptive because if you push too hard at the bottom, it's so easy to blow before you get to the top. And I know when we were last here on the WOW DCG, a number of riders who put the attack in at the bottom after the go, go, go were not the ones to go across the line at the top first. So it's a really interesting climb, and it's really deceptive because it really starts to kick when it gets onto the cobbles.
It does. And then, of course, if you've used up your steamroller here, you might get another one as you go across the line, which would be very handy because, of course, the next climb is even steep. It's just as steep, if not even steeper, and super short sprint, so perfect for that steamroller.
The Richmond UCI course is absolutely brilliant for the number of power-ups you get each lap.
Yeah.
It is, you know, there are so many opportunities for power-ups, and as long as you don't get a ghost, you're absolutely fine.
Yeah, that is very, very key. We'll see whether it counts. So let's see how the roads go. A regroup being called from Russ, and you've been DSing for the Aeonian squad. I know we've got a couple of Aeonian riders on the road. We've got Cindy Gagan in here at the moment, but you've been DSing for one of the teams. You've got so many teams, I can't even remember which one it is.
Oh, yeah, so, you know, traditionally Cindy, traditionally, previous seasons, I've ridden and raced with Cindy and Joe regularly, week in, week out. This season, on Tuesday nights, I am DSing the Aeonian Chicas.
Okay.
And we have 3 wins out of 3 at the moment.
3 out of 3 at the moment.
Yeah,
that's
they're
not bad.
absolutely nailing it this season, which is absolutely brilliant. Really, really strong riders. And I'm having a whale of a time, actually still feeling part of it, even though I'm not on the bike. So, you know, many thanks to the Aeonian squad and Carla and Danielle, because I have to say, even when you're off the bike and you're poorly, they still make sure you feel part of the team, which is absolutely brilliant.
So here we go, up on to the next climb here. You can see that gradient is at 11%, at 12% and kicking. We're still riding in with Cindy at the moment, and you can just see this is a grim climb. And trying to keep the group together here is really, really difficult, isn't it?
Oh, it is. You know, when these segments and sections of climb get so steep, it is really difficult trying to keep such a large group together. And all credit to Russ for doing it tonight.
Yeah, and Russ, of course, is going to be the man who has this all to hold together on this course. But really interesting to see that we have our red beacon still just about in touch at the back of the group. And that is John Garford, who I think is putting in some serious graphs, just trying to make sure everybody stays in together. And look how close they are as they come up this climb. John, of course, a Navy Royal Marines. In fact, we actually went past their base at Budley. I think it is down on the coast in Devon, heading across to the mountain bike at Newnham.
Ah, okay.
So the main Royal Marines base is just down there, or one of the main training bases for them. Down there, so it was a regular. Well, you actually rode across to where we were commentating.
I did. I did an awful lot of riding actually in Devon and Cornwall that few weeks, and I wasn't racing. I was indeed riding. And take a note of who is with John today. It is Miss Cookie who will be taking that red beacon on the first WOW DCG.
Excellent. So next week we have 3 Donny Chaingangs. We have the DCG on Tuesday, the DCG on Thursday, and sandwiched in between, the jam in between the 2 slices of bread, it is going to be the WOW DCG. Sammy Stewart leading. Make sure you tell everybody, get those turbo trainers in. Remember, of course, it is Women Only Wednesday, Donny Chaingang, if you're one of the guys. Best thing to do, tune in to the coverage. You'll hear Emma on there with myself, Matt Payne, and you'll get to see our riders in action. If we can see them behind the crowds on the course here. So the descent really is starting to split the downhill. Let's take a little bit of a run up and through towards the front. Let's see where Russ is, just working our way through. You'll see Andy Fraser in here as well. Isaac Oliver, Mr. Crosland in as well. Just working our way up towards the very front here. We're just doing Mark Chamberlain. Good to see Mark's in once again. Looks like I was just seeing Ruben in here, one of our youngsters. So here we go. Rob Varty nicely tucked in here as well. And looks like these riders just coming up onto the climb.
Yeah, and it's interesting there, it's stretched out the front. You know, you have to be so vigilant as a rider to not go too hard over a climb and down the other side on the descent and stretch yourself out away from the yellow beacon on these courses. Because, of course, it's not just the climb. You go over the top of the climb in front of the rest of the pack, you just elongate that gap. And that's not really where we're at until the go, go, go happens.
Yeah, definitely. It is really important to stay around. Yeah, and, of course, you think you're doing no damage, you can't see what damage is being done, but people who go off the front basically are putting people in trouble at the back.
Well, it's just so tricky. You know, you really have to be vigilant as a rider. You have to know exactly what you're doing, you have to follow the instructions, and you have to make sure that even if you think you're doing 2.5 watts per kilo and that's where you should be at the moment, if that's creating a gap, or if your power output, if you're a bigger rider and you're putting out more power and you're on a flat section, the lighter riders, it's not always about watts per kilo, it's often about watts as well. On the algorithm on Zwift, and that creates the problem. So it's just not quite as straightforward as following the watts per kilo. You've got to watch what the pack are doing, you've got to watch what the group are doing, and you've got to stay in there.
Yep, and you can see the damage that's starting to be done out of the back. It looks like Mason just going back for people. Killingsworth doing the same. Richardson, Flynn, Robertson, Cheeseman being distanced on this climb. Ticker's the same. So it really has strung the group out. The pack from our red beacon to the main bunch is now 1.5 minutes. Let's see how they go on as they go up this climb. Certainly looking to me like the main pack is staying together at the moment and making the way in and through. And good to see that we've got a real selection of riders who are in here and jumping on here. So here we go, the riders on the climb. Robertson out of the saddle here, just chasing Flynn. Then it's Cheeseman, then it's going to be Tickers. Could see Mark Tickle back on the gang, one of our regular riders.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it? And looking at that, he's just a little bit ahead of that red beacon at the moment. You know, John and Miss Cookie are, oh, look, there you go, now there's a screen. He is indeed just leading them through onto that climb.
Certainly is. So here we go, making the way up into the bus. Just ahead, we're going to have Flynn and Robertson, I think, and Cheeseman. So they're finding a little group. Mr. Richardson either try and jump in with James. It's going to be Richardson and Robertson. Let's see how they go. So that group trying to come back together. City Gagan sitting on the back on the group. So James is off the back. You are not at the back though, mate. Don't worry. There are still plenty of riders. You've got Richardson, you've got Robertson coming. Find a group, jump in with the group, and sit in with the gang and see how you get on the climb. So our riders on the way through. Riding well, the group, the leader group coming up through. They've already gone through the line and just going to take a little bit of a run back. So here we go. I think James just coming in towards the line.
And indeed, yes, Ian, that is where you will finish.
So Ian Bale, mate, read the email. I know you're a member of the DCG gang. Read the email. Do you know how many hours I spend writing that blinking thing? So, and this is why, when people chatter, things get missed. Ross missing shouting out the 2 laps to go because he's too busy replying. There you go. Let's see how our riders are. They're spread well out. The red beacon working well with Miss Cookie at the back of the group. Let's see where the front of the group is. Looks like it's all in and around Russ. So, as our riders make their way through, I think we can head in for another giveaway. Let's give away some stuff. Always like giving away stuff. It's always important to do that on the Chaingang. We've got to say a massive thank you to the team at the OTE because they have made the round exactly what it's been all the way through. So our giveaway, you know how this works. It's really easy. We've already given away a pack to Vin Donny today as our first random winner. Let's jump in to the screen. Here we go. You can see it's rolling. And you all know how this works, and you certainly will by the time we get to the end of the season in April. So it's rolling away. What number is it going to be? I'm going to hand Emma the big master list on here. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get Emma to read the big numbers. I'm not saying she's getting old, but she can't read the small print. Right, ready to go. Here we are. In fact, Emma, if you push that button there once. There we go. It is going to be Trevor Crehan. Trevor, you are the second of our winners tonight. So Trevor Crehan in there. Well done, buddy. He takes away a massive pack. A member of the DCG gang that keeps it going. It's good giving away stuff, isn't it, Em?
Yeah, congratulations, Trevor. It's a great OTE pack coming your way.
So our riders out and riding. We have our riders making the way around the course.
Can I just say how good it is to have the OTE duo bars back?
Oh, don't start that. Don't start that. So Emma is an addict to the OTE duo bars. She's not alone in that. That conversation has come up all right a few times on the way through. But Emma, a definite addict of those bars. And they're back. Favourite flavour, Emma?
Cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream every time.
Oh, yeah.
I have a new favourite bar. Hold up my hand. It's not a duo bar either. It's not after today's ride. My favourite bar currently is Anytime Protein Salted Caramel.
Oh, us flapjack.
It is like flapjack, and it is absolutely stunning with protein. So it goes in and it actually helps the muscles recover a little bit on the way around the ride, particularly for a longer ride when you're going out. I was out for 3 hours today, so that was 3 bars, oddly enough. And 2 bottles with hydro tabs in as well, oddly enough, because I got to be hydrated. The guys on the gang know this, who are members, because they've all had the emails telling them all about it. Go on to the OTE site about that. But tip from the top, tip from the commentary, tip from somebody who doesn't go as quick as maybe you should do and needs all the help you can get. Salted caramel. Anytime protein bar.
Cookies and cream duo.
see, this is going to last a long time. Well, let's get back to the ride. Emma, thank you very much for coming down and joining us in the studio. I know you stay all night given the choice down here, but we're going to send you up. You need all your energy ready for weekend, because of course we commentate at the weekend, and you're hosting one of the esports rides, and of course you're going to be on that broadcast on Wednesday and DSing on the Tuesday as well. Busy times.
Busy week next week.
Busy week next week. Thank you very much, Emma. So our riders are on the way round. You can see them making their way around that turn, and it's great to see them coming in and through here, looking good at the moment. And got to remember, it is all about making sure that you stay with that yellow beacon, which is what our riders are doing at the moment, looking good. So on the way down. So our riders on the way through. Interesting to see the gang coming in and through. Jess taking the fastest lap time round there as well. Congratulations to Vin Donahoe and Trevor Crehan, our two winners so far. And of course everybody else who has won already tonight. Still got plenty more goodies to give away. Just seen our red beacon come in the opposite direction, just in with Lee at the moment as they come in through. You see John on here. So Ian Bowe, he may not be here, but he's giving him a thumbs up. Fantastic. Don't forget, of course, if you are just a join a ride rider, there's a 5% discount come out on your confirmation. It lasts until the end of the month. Members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, 25% discount reverts to 20% at the end of the month. So get in, as Russ says, fill your baskets and do it quick, because if you don't, you aren't going to be able to get that full 25% off. Now just taking a little bit of a look through. Looks like Kurt at the moment just having to chase on. Henderson, Richardson, Robertson, Flynn, all with work to do. They've got to find themselves a group. The important thing to do, join a group like the Red Beacon group here. It's there to sweep you up and take you in and through towards the finish. You could see John Hine from Bolsover District tucked nicely into this group as they come in along the side of the plough here. A gang still pretty much all together, with a number of people dropped off to be expected on this course, to be brutally honest. As we head into our descent, you know what? Let's give away some more stuff. Love giving away stuff. Always great, and giving something back to the members. In fact, everyone who's getting OTE goodies, well, they are getting essentially the same value in goodies from OTE that they pay for their monthly membership. So they've had the monthly membership, all the details, all the routes, all the discounts, and getting the free stuff that is the same price as their membership for the month. Fantastic stuff from OTE. A massive thank you to Annie and the gang. So let's start our random number generator going. Not sure where it will end up. If it ends up on somebody who's already won, we'll just fire it back around again. Hopefully it won't do that, because of course it is one rider, one price. Proper old school rules here, and it's going to be Carl Johnson. So Carl Johnson, another stalwart of the gang, a member of the DCG gang. Carl Johnson taking our next win. So Carl, you're going to be getting a whole pack of goodies coming your way. So make sure that you jump in and make sure you're on there. So McLardy just leading us on the way through, just dropping down the descent very shortly, just still 1% of the moment, just a little bit of a drag up the long straight up through the sprint here. Russ just tucked on the front of the gang at the moment. So here we go, McGlardy still nicely tucked in. He's done some great rides so far on the gang. New rider to us this time around. Got some very experienced riders in here. Good to see Mr. Beagley in here. It's good to see we've got people sat and watching. Got Craig Herring not able to join the gang today. Sat on his sofa, not too well, so get well soon, mate. And at the moment, supporting from the sofa, watching and keeping it all DCG orientated. And message for the gang says, tell the gang to keep the blob strong. So keep that blob strong, keep it together, and make sure, guys, that you follow the instructions on there. You can just see getting anvil in on this downhill makes it nice and easy on the way down. So fantastic stuff. Now, looks like our red beacon just starting to get a few customers in on the way through. So the bus got 4 on board at the moment. Jim Flynn in the blue. We've got Tickers in the grey and white camo. We've got Miss Cookies, drummer, so on her way through as well. And we've also, of course, got our red beacon himself. It is John Garford. So that is a pack that is sweeping their way in and around the course. Richardson up the road, Henderson up the road. Could see them. Kerr up the road as well. Evans could well see them coming through as they make the way down through the course there. Sharp at the moment, just distance off the back. McCarthy just in that super tuck, trying to drop down and in. Oxenham just a little off the back there. Expect to see Simon getting back in with that pack. Seeing a few big numbers on the people on the back, just squeezing the way back in to the group once again on this descent as the numbers open up. So into our turn they come, the leading group still together. Remember, we're on lap number 2. 28k covered for Paul Mallin on the DCG. You just see a few people now starting to get spat out of the back of the group. So good to see we've got Jeff. I'm just going to see, is it Jeff Saysell or is it Shelley Charles? It is going to be Jeff, I think, from Continental, one of the key sports of the DCG gang, on the way in that Conti kit. So it looks like Gagan with the first time at the way up here. Feels like 2k up this hill. Don't think Kai Hurst is wrong for a change just on the way through. Now just watching the guys on the way down the red beacon, just distance off the back. Epworth and Henderson still in no man's land in between. Sharp on the back of the group just about. Looks like Saxton in that pack. Jimmy Allen in here as well. Wallace on his way through that group nicely, tucked in and around Russ at the moment. Those numbers going up. So we've got Crosscast Neil from the Crosscast tucked in here. Neil back and hopefully back onto some form after the 3 peaks. This should feel like nothing. Neil, of course, from Gritty as well. Gritty, one of our big supporters, the Beacon supporters, 20% off all the way through the year for them. So top of the 23rd Street climb at the moment. That gang still just about holding together, a little bit dot to dot behind as they come through, strung out as you would expect on the way through. So let's just take a little bit of a look behind Fraser, just having to wind it up a little bit. Tunnicliffe doing the same. Richards now distance from the top, as is Jones and Gagan. Gagan, of course, racing yesterday. Kerr on his way up the main climb, and then making the way up a little bit lower down is Henderson. Then it's going to be our Red Beacon group motoring on. So at the moment, the main pack still on its way in towards the final climb. This very quick downhill, just in with Dale Williams at the moment, weaving his way through. Got that draft engaged, so able to make the most of not having as much resistance on his way down. So the gang riding through. There we go, right on the side of Dale. Here we go, through the side. So Dale looking good. A few people just in trouble. I think Russ doesn't need to apologise for breakups on this course. It is a real brutally tough course. It's one that breaks everything, as I've heard Emma saying, really hard one to keep together. Invariably breaks on the climbs here, and it is almost impossible to hold together. And at the end of the day, if you look at the heart rate on there, I think you will see the heart rate graph from everybody goes nicely ramping skywards, even on this where you got those massive ups and downs. So Russ leading it out and keeping everybody together up at the front group at the moment, and certainly looks to me like the gang are nicely clustered around the yellow beacon, who's tucked into the middle of the group. So Russ in his all too familiar Coaching Works jersey, so you can see the Coaching Works across the back pockets there. And don't forget, of course, Donny cycling with Dean and Russ, coaching a real plethora of very, very quick riders, some of which, of course, now going to be heading into a break at the moment. But as you can see, Russ over the 100 heart rate barrier, so at least the fans will be kicking in now as he goes through. No, not the ones at the side of the road, the ones that keep him cool, linked to the heart rate. So at the moment, onto that climb. Again, Russ going for those lighter weight wheels on the Pinarello, no surprises there, and choosing not to go with the disc, much better on the climbs. And this course, usually one that splits over the top of the climb, so important to be right in the mix as you go over the top. So good to see we've got Drobowalski going in with the group. So on the bus at the back, it's happy hour. I'm not sure it's happy hour up on that front group as they come in through. There's some serious suffering going on. Yellow Dale is at the back of the pack. Sat there, ticking along. Yep, Ghost doesn't work when you've got a beacon on top. Definitely not. Neither does it work very well if you've got level 50 socks on. Love it. Worth a try, though. I wonder if it would blank the beacon out. That would have been better, wouldn't it? Sadly, not to be. The perils of being the yellow beacon. So don't forget, next month we've got a whole load of routes going out. Russ with some fantastic routes going in for the DCG, and really looking forward to seeing our rest of that. I know what they are. The team at Swift know what they are. Russ, of course, designed them, and they're going to be coming out to our members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, They're the guys who've been getting all of the prizes tonight, and they're the guys who keep the show on the road. They also get all of the links nice and early. They get them on the weekend before the event. If you haven't joined up for October, it's well worth doing. We retain 20% discount on OTE as they switch over and hand over the reins to Halo as our beacon sponsor. You see those rims on Russ's bike and my mountain bike. One of our favourite wheel sets, and of course they are the wheels that have been spinning and helping the riders on the DCG gang. Going to be an amazing giveaway from Halo during the course of the month, and of course a bigger discount as well, 20% discount coming from Halo throughout the next month in October. So make sure you join up, make sure you sign up. Remember, that is how we keep the whole show on the road if you're a member of the DCG gang. And of course, DCG gang members getting all of the links for the DCG, the routes, the links and routes and details for the WOW DCG coming out to them directly as well. You don't need to register ride by ride if you're a member. Please just jump on. It's really simple. Jump on there onto the site. Pick yourself either a month or pick yourself a to the end of the season package. To the end of the season package means you just need to do it once in the year. Oddly enough, because we don't have September Rise when we get to the end of tonight, the price to the end of the season drops because we are only going to have what is 7 months. Remember, the season finishing at the end of April for the DCG, the end of March for the WOW DCG. So our riders up on to the climb, taking the right turn, coming up on to the climb, and it is a little bit of a drag up here as you come up, basically up the side of Fan Flats here, and it's not really dramatic enough to split the group unless somebody is having a bad time. They're right on the limit of their FTP and struggling on the way through. So into our final lap. It's going to be a long one tonight. We've got 59 minutes on the clock already, and 59 minutes 28 seconds. Russ with 34.5k underneath his wheels as they come through. The fastest lap time currently with Mark Killingsworth. Whether or not it stays that way, we will see, because we've got some seriously quick riders here tonight, and I think once Russ gives that signal, then it is going to be absolute carnage on here, because we've got the climbs to come. But of course, who knows when that signal will go. It's all going to be about when Russ feels it is time to push the... Oh, here it goes. In fact, the go has gone bang on the hour there. So we've done an hour warm. Look at the number of people engaging. Maximum power here with those socks on, with the flames that are coming out. We just seen with Luke Taylor, just seen him push out to 11 watts per kilo. Tom Lindley's putting it on the afterburners as well to get right up to the front. Lewis is doing the same. Simon Booth is doing that. Just going to take a little bit of run up there. Looks like got Phil Ozike, got Richie Woodall going up. Xander is up near the front as well. Just going to take a little bit of a check. Phil Ozike, I think, is leading them out at the moment. He's got a steamroller employed at that moment. He didn't want that group to go. Going over the top goes Liam Calloway, another of our real regular riders on the Donny Chaingang. So here we go. The riders are coming, spinning in over the top and through. Calloway leading this out. Being chased by Runnit, being chased by Dubash, being chased by Evans here as they come through there. The guys at the back just trying to dive in. And it's very much right like riding an elimination, or if you're a proper rider, the devil take the hindmost, because what happens is the riders roll round the edges. You can be left on the back of the bunch without realising it, and then you end up in trouble. And once that gap goes, it's all too easy to be in major trouble, because if it goes, you are going to have a battle to get back. Gibbo at the moment trying to bridge across that group at the back of the pack, but this is going to be tough stuff here today. Oh no, Russ got dropped with his wife asking him what he wanted for tea. Mate, The answer is lots. Lots and lots after today's ride as the gang come through. So I think Russ just about making cut. It's back in the gang. I got dumped. I've got to make my own, I think, by the look of it. So I'm going to be hungry tonight. So just watching the gang come through. The team nicely in here. Rob Wimble in here. Ron Dubash in here. Wow, look at that. Feathers. Definitely not good news. Now, just interesting to see Jess Evans with Dave Fulton here. Gibbo and Luke Taylor not all that far behind. Malin just tucked in here. Russ just a little off the pace. Just got to get back in. I think having to put an effort to get back into that group, but should be able to do so. Meanwhile, little group forming off the front of the pack. They may well have seen that the bear is otherwise occupied, so 3 riders trying to break clear at the very front of the ride. So Simon Oxenham, I think it is, who's on the front with Phil Ozuke, who's in here. Dale Williams on the pursuit, but they've got to work together. If you try and do this solo, it's not going to work. Now, Ozuke on the front. He's got Oxenham just easy enough. Now puts it in the afterburners, just jumping in. Runnit is on the chase, though, and Runnit is going to pull this whole pack back in. Well, look at this. That gang's all come back together. The way to attack, you can see Jimmy Allen putting it very clearly. Don't tow the group back in unless you want it to go to a sprint. If you want the assistance on the flat sections, bring them back in again. It is all about making sure you attack through that group. Go for an absolute flyer. Don't just bring the group up. You've got to go really up on the watts and really attack hard and make everybody work for it. If you tow people back in, well, you're leaving it wide open on the climbs for the climbers. But remember, this is an uphill finish as well, and that makes life much, much harder too. So the riders at the moment on their way in towards the end of the plough part of the Fan Flats course here on the Donny Chaingang, with me on Payne bringing all the coverage for the Chaingang with Full Speed Events. Russ Downey of Downey Cycling leading our group, the man whose brainchild putting the Donny Chaingang online it was, and we've been covering it pretty much from the start. There were a few before we were there. In fact, actually rode one before we covered it, just to make sure I knew what we were talking about. You can see Russ just jumping on to the front of the group. If we take a look back, he's got the entire gang behind him at the moment. Well, it looks like he's completed his weekly goal on Zwift. Well done, buddy. So look at that, what way to complete it. Go off the front and engage that anvil just before the descent, so it ran him through the descent, and he's getting a gap here. Now, who's going to respond to this? He's on a second lead at the moment now, 2 seconds to most of that group. Question is, who's going to chase Russ down? Is it going to be a chase? Is it just going to be a case of they're trying to spring a few more people off the back of the group? Russ sitting at 4.2 for now, 4.7 now, 5.1 watts per kilo. The rest of the group are chasing behind. Howlett, Douglas, Booth, Pritchard, Oliver, Barr's in there, Bale's in there, Oliver's in there, Sadler's in there, and now they come back together again. Our Red Beacon getting busy just at the back of the gang as well, picking up bodies on his way through. But the key thing today, I think, is going to be about finding a group, get some moral support as you come in and through the gang now. Let's see who's going to take it out on the front. Can anybody put in another dig? We are at the basically false flat. It's 1% climb. Now, Russ saying bang as his legs gone after that dig. Just taking a little look at the numbers. Come on, Russ, dig in, get on the back of there. So Russ just jumping on to the back of the group here. Is somebody ahead? Not that I know of, Mr. Mason. Fat cyclist could be a question. There's nobody up the road at the moment. Russ just making his way back into the group. He's just on the hills going alongside Rob Wimble there. You'll see Rob back on the Chaingang once again. Massive thank you to everybody who has joined as a member. Quick reminder, guys, show only stays on the road. We only are able to keep Russ's wheels turning if you join the DCG gang. And if people join it, then it means that we are able to keep on bringing you the chain gang. If you don't, well, unfortunately, there is actually so much Russ and I can do in terms of our time that we put into this and the costs that we incur. So it is important, please, guys, if you do have that spare. I know things are incredibly tight, and the current car crash that is the economy is not going to be helping anybody at all, other than the elite who have got the funds to short out the pound. So a quick reminder, guys, please make sure that you're on there. No fish. No, we have no Mr. Herring with us today. He says keep that blob strong. Well, did up to the gap, so no Craig to go heading off down the road. Now come the riders with the power up. So big drop down here. We're in with Crease here heading down. So I think Russ with another ghost power up there that unfortunately doesn't really work when you've got that beacon hanging over your head. You need to be able to switch that off as well. I'm sure Russ will be feeding that back. If you're the beacon, let me bid the beacon whilst I'm going on a ghost. So Crease on his way down here, just taking a look at the back of that group. Some class riders at the next group. Raccoon Gibbo, Fulton, it's like Jess Evans, Luke in there, Wallace in there as well. But look at this group is really having to work. Interesting to see that Xander Graham really having to put the pressure on the downhill. The lightweight riders generally suffer on the downhill. It's the revenge of anybody who's over the sort of 45, 50 kilo marker. Is that on the downhill you really can wind it up. Now another little bit of skirmish up on the front. A few riders just looking like they're trying to wind it up. It's going to be Rob Varty who's in the lead here. So Varty at the moment just being pulled back. That little bit of a group being pulled back in together. And now I think it's going to be Tom Elliott who's just gone off the front of the group. Tricky to keep track of everybody who's in action. But Tom Elliott riding from the Netherlands at the moment. In the group here, just going to take a little bit of a run. I think Oxenham is who's on the front now. So Oxenham, the rider who's led that little bit of a dig in. We're going to go on to this little rise though, and this is where things get interesting because this is where there is a little bit of a chance. And look at that, Russ has spotted that. He's raced on this in real life. He's now starting to attack off the front again. Well, the bear had got well and truly poked today. He had been really wound up, and it looks to me like he is making people pay behind. So whoever poked the bear in his cave today, thank you very much, guys. I think we're all reaping the whirlwind one way or another because you can see Russ now on the offensive. Elliott comes up onto his heels. He wants to be in the action. If he sees Russ going down the road, I think he's got company with Sadler in the mix at the moment. These are your two leaders on the way through. You just see them from in the jungle cab pretty much. I think it's one of the field cams in there. As they go through now, let's see who's going to be able to take this out. The riders on the front just now run it. Who goes up to the front? The group is together, and I am absolutely glued to this because I think we are going to see fireworks when we come on to that cobble climb. And this is where the gang are going to be giving it some big licks because when they come up on here, on to the climb, this is where it's going to be about having a steamroller. Let's see who is going to be able to take this out, who is going to be able to put the pressure on. So here we go. Sadler goes in and through in the group. There are bodies being dropped behind this pack. You can just see them on that map behind, just making the way into that turn. But now we're coming in to the territory where the lighter riders should start to come to the front. Beagley going for an early one at the moment. Let's get the drone cam up. We've got a decent view of these riders as they start to push on here. Early steamroller going in there. Not going to pay too many dividends until you hit that. That's Richie Woodall with that steamroller going in. It only has the maximum effect when you're on the cobbles. So let's just drop away under here as these riders go now. Harry Hudson starting to lead this out on the front. He's got Isaac Oliver, Rob Varty, he's got Beagley, he's got Jones, Lindley, Varty. Lewis is in there, Xander Graham's in there, Brackenridge in there, Howlett in there, Saxton in there. It's a real who's who of the riders who take it on when it goes uphill as they come around the turn. And look at the volume of feathers that are being engaged as well. Now we start to see a steamroller come in from Hudson, and this is going to make it a lot easier for him. He should be able to keep these two in check whilst using lower watts per kilo as he goes up here. You can see Bevan and Isaac Oliver getting pulled back by Hudson. That steamroller coming into effect, but I think Bevan Jones has just gone and pushed over the top. Jones is going to get surely the fastest time up here over the KOM. He's got a new PB up there. It's a 1:08. It is the fastest time. Isaac Oliver follows him through. So fastest time set there. Now, this is where we could start to see a leading group go clear. Will Bevan Jones push on? He's put in the van there, so that reduces his aerodynamic. It means he can draft better. Got nobody to draft though. Might have been an error. That might have waited for somebody to come back up again. But they are in 1s and 2s behind. I'm just looking to see if there's a substantial split. I think it is behind these riders. So Beagley, Brackenridge, Oliver, Hudson, Graham, Jones up the road. They're the riders in front. The riders behind Beagley currently sitting at 13 seconds. Now 14 seconds being led by Rob Varty. A select group with Elliott, Mason the Fat Cyclist. We've got Saxton in there, Lindley in there, Williams in there, Booth in there. Just taking a little bit of a check. I think that is all of those riders in there. Apologies, we missed you on the way through. Looks like Saxton is in this group as well. On to the climb they go. They are currently behind this group, which is splitting once again. It's Hudson now who leads them up here. Nice 80 revs per minute. He's keeping that power down at the moment. 373 watts behind him though. Big numbers coming out of Bevan as he goes over his shoulder. A bigger rider, heavier rider. I think Bevan Jones probably not by a huge amount. So Bevan Jones goes up. He takes another fastest time up there. So Bevan Jones sets the fastest time through there until Lindley comes through, who is chasing behind. So Lindley goes through chasing, and that means he gets the fastest time on there. Williams setting new PBs. Isaac Oliver setting new PBs as they come up around these turns. But we have got one more big climb to the run to the line. So let's drop down and in with our leader, Bevan Jones, with company at the moment. So Bevan has right on his shoulder, he's got Hudson in there. He's got, I think that's going to be Xander Graham in there as well. So Xander and Hudson, the two youngsters in there behind him. So Bevan leading this out now. The rider in the blue, this is Xander Graham. We know he can go uphill really well. Has he got it today? A rider who's had a great start to his cross season as well. We've got Harry Hudson in here. So two youngsters in with Bevan, and Bevan gets some support from Dale Williams there. Not surprised, a little bit further back. Beagley currently in 4th place, Varty in 5th, Lindley in 6th, Elliott in 7th, Saxton in 8th, Breckenridge in 9th, Dale Williams in 10, Booth 11, Isaac Oliver in 12, then it's be Phil Oliver in 13, Harry Howlett going to be in 14 with Eddie Dench in 15th place at the moment. But as we roll our way up towards the front, you can see at the moment it is Hudson who is starting to wind it up on the front of this group now. This is the final climb. This is where they've got to make it count. Who has the power? Who has the pace? Hudson still pushing on. The response comes from Jones and Graham, but they're giving away a second at the moment. Just coming into sight is Beagley around the corner. Remember, we're on an uphill section, so the physical distance between the riders will shorten. Our camera also foreshortens the distance. If we pull out a little bit, you can see that that is going to be currently still sitting at about 1 second, but a massive dig in here now. Xander Graham putting a huge dig, coming up onto the wheel of Hudson, and I think I'm waiting for him to reappear, but that is a ghost. Here he goes. He pops back out on the front. He may well have wanted to be a little bit further up the road with that, but it took him from third into first. Now they've got to respond to that attack whilst in ghost mode from Xander Graham. It looks like Hudson is engaging the draft. Looks like Bevan has gone pop. He has. He's at 9 seconds. He's losing ground massively at the moment. So Xander Graham's going to get flagged by Zwift on this one. No surprises there with the numbers he's putting out. That is because he's a youngster and he's going to need to just get in touch with the gangsters. Xander Graham is going to get this, and he's going to have to just go put the email in to Swift, just let him know he is really this young, this light and this quick. It is true in real life. You don't become a Scottish champion for nothing. So it is Xander Graham who takes the win. It's going to be a second place for Hudson. Harry Hudson gets second place. Bevan Jones, I think, is going to hold on for third place as they come up into the line here today. So here we go, and underneath the gantry goes Bevan Jones. Then it is going to be a Beagley who's going to come through. So Beagley's going to come through for, oh, he's not. He's going to get pipped on the line. He does get rode on the line. Varty takes it. Varty takes fourth. Beagley takes fifth. Then it's going to be Elliott versus Lindley. Elliott versus Saxton. I think Saxton just getting that with the power and the pace on. They're going to be able to work that out from their screens. Lindley's going to be our next rider coming up to the line. He's got Dale Williams behind him, still inside that top 10 as he makes his way in under the gantry. Dale Williams immediately behind. Then it's going to be Breckenridge in 10th place. Eddie Dench coming through in 11th position. Harry Howard comes through for 12th. Isaac and Phil Oliver in the run-in. The good to see Mr. Osman is back up onto form, kicking in once again. Ian Bale, as we come into the cross season, looking good as well. Just ahead of West. And then it's going to be Jimmy Allen, the Wolf, the man who takes the reins when Russ is not available, going to be coming through inside the top 20. Then Simon Runnick comes in and through just ahead of Velocity 44's Wayne Barr. Then Liam Callaway going to be chasing 23rd. He's going to be 24th for Neil from the Crosscast. Next Crosscast coming out next week. Then it's Peacock, followed by Sharp and Sharp. So going in, come in and through. Greg Pillsworth comes through. Then it's going to be John Hind as they come through. Douglas Hawkins, Dobrowski coming in just about. Dobrowski comes through here. He's going to be our next rider through the alliance. You can see Stefan coming through just ahead of Simon Oxon, and then Dr. D himself. It's going to be Forrester, Gale, and then Wilson. So inside the top 40, Richie Woodall, in fact, is going to just pit them in. Goes in ahead of Forbes, then Wilson, then it's going to be Moore. And it's going to be the Beacon himself. Russ is going to come in after leading it, ripping it up and getting everybody fired up. Russ is going to come in and through. Time for that warm down. So here you go, Russ on his way through that line. We're going to keep an eye on who else is on the way in front. I think Matt Crease is chasing Chris Gale at the moment. Gale's going to be our next rider through the line. Then it's going to be a Crease. So here we go. Gale goes through. Then it's a Crease. Then it's going to be Kokin. So Kokin ahead of Ruben McLardy. Ruben on his way through. I reckon he's going to get a new 20-minute power time. Don't forget, pop those up on that Facebook page. Make sure that you ping out those updates. If you set a new FTP here today, if the Donny Chaingang works for you, make sure you get it posted around social media. More riders we get riding and playing the game, joining in and doing the business here today, the better it is. Next rider on his way in is going to be Rob Wimble from the Drogon Race team. So Rob in that shut up legs on his way through, coming in. think Ross got more than his fair share of ghosts. There must be a way to stop that happening to the yellow because they must be able to give him something more useful on the way through, just prohibit him from getting it. Next up is going to be Paul Mallin. Mallin going to be pretty much halfway through this field, 99 right. In fact, he's going to ghost his way in and through there. Cheers, bud. So just going to take a little bit of a check back down the road. So Paul Manning going through, then it's going to be Owen Davis from Team 65 Bruce, just ahead of Langmead and Raccoon. Raccoon putting in a last gasp run for the line here. So our riders continuing onwards, coming through thick and fast. We're going to have Gibbo on his way in to the line, followed by Luke Taylor at the moment. So Gibbo on his way in here on the Donny Chaingang, the last ride, all part of OTE in September. And thank you very much to Annie, to Gary, to Max, all the team over at OTE. Their support absolutely critical. Don't forget, of course, you can grab yourselves a discount whether you're a Join a Ride rider or you are one of our members of the DCG gang. DCG gang, though, is where you want to be because you get all of the bigger discounts on there as we say thank you to our riders. So Dave Fulton on his way through. Then it's going to be Jess Evans. So Jess on her way up here. So great to see Jess back on the gang. Hope to see Jess on Wednesday on the WOW DCG. So the Donny Chaingang are going from 2 to 3. That basically means I don't get a live on the Tuesday, Wednesday, or on the Thursday. Don't forget, of course, you can watch all of the action on the usual platforms, the Downing side on the YouTube channel, the Full Speed Events YouTube channel, and of course on the Facebook page. So Lee, our next rider, coming around that turn with Wallace. Whilst they make their way into the line, let's give away some more stuff. You know the score by now. Some more OTE goodies coming out to one of our riders. Let's start the random number machine as Lee makes her way in towards the line with Wallace. Let's stop this on one of our members of the DCG gang. It is going to be a Gareth license. So Gareth taking away one of our DCG members, PAX members of the DCG gang, grabbing all of those goodies from the team at OTE. So a massive thank you to OTE. That's going to be another rider getting those goodies. So Lee on the way in with Wallace. There's a bit of a wind-up going on here. You can see that the watts per kilo are steadily being increased here. They're up at 5 watts per kilo. Wallace leading out Lee. As Lee got a final kick, I think it's going to be down to Wallace. Wallace just going to take that ahead of Lee. Behind it's going to be Dick Samul. So Samul at the moment is going to be our next rider, another rider who makes his way in towards the line. And good to see Dick making his way back in and through. Another of our regulars on the Donny Chaingang is going to come in just ahead of Chris Cannon. So Cannon's going to be the next rider in towards the line, a member of the DCG gang on the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Chris will be getting those details before anybody else. Where we're going in the next month. Behind him, well, you can see, I think it's going to be Patterson on his way in to the line. Then it's going to be Steve Cannon. So Gary Patterson, our next rider coming through, 61st place. Not everybody, of course, finishing the ride here today. Then it's going to be Steve Cannon. So Cannon is going to come through with 62nd place here today. So Steve on his way in towards the line here on the Donny Chaingang. Don't forget, of course, you can join every Tuesday, every Thursday. Jump on to the Donny Chaingang website, onto the Facebook page. To get those links to register for the event is how we keep track of everybody who's on there. And of course, you can only access the Donny Chaingang on there. Don't forget, of course, that we have that same registration process for riders on the WOW DCG, and of course all of the Donny Chaingang members, of the DCG gang, the supporters club, get the advantage. Now, it is of course Andy Fraser just making his way in from the Electric Spirit.co. .uk heading in, so the team from electricspirit.co coming in here. So Fraser going to be our next rider in, which means that we should have time to do a couple of quick roundups and get our next riders in. So I think first of all, let's do something really important. Let's give away some more OTE goodies. Got another bag of OTE goodies coming out. One is never enough, let's face it. So we are going to give away our next set of goodies. The number generator is rolling. Which member of the DCG gang are going to get the goodies next from OTE? Let's stop the random number generator. We can't control what numbers to stop on. It is basically pretty random on the way through. And that is going to be another of our regular supporters. It is Steve Hilbert. So Steve is going to take away the next of our packs. Well done to Steve Hilbert, one of the regular riders from the Sherwood Pines squad. So Steve taking it away, more OTE goodies. Great to see Steve getting the prizes on the way through. Now, looks like Jones and Fraser together at the moment. We're going to take a little bit of a roll across. So here we go. Just in with Jones, 178 beats per minute. Don't know what Andy's are. He hasn't got his heart rate monitor ticking away. 67 revs per minute, 66. So very evenly matched in terms of the pedal cadence as they make their way up this section of climb. Behind them, we've got, I think it's going to be Richards just stopped in the water at the moment. There's going to be Kerr just coming up behind him. And we're going to have Garfoot and Flynn, our red beacon, just coming in towards Libby Hills. So our riders on their way in. The next two to hit the finish are going to be Jones and Fraser, who make their way in and through towards the line. Don't forget, of course, you can catch up with all of the action on the Donny Chaingang, all made possible by the riders who are members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Absolutely critical that you jump in and support the people who support the Chaingang. So please do make sure that you jump on board and are part of the team that make that happen. So a massive thank you to everyone who has been involved. Without the guys, it just isn't possible for us to do the gang and to put all the time in that it takes. Russ and myself basically spearheaded that from the word go, and Russ, of course, dreaming up the Chaingang, and then we're bringing it out to everybody. We've been at this now. We've done nearly 2.5 years, because we have had a break of 4 months recently, thank goodness. Before that, it was every Tuesday, every Thursday, as well as some of our WOW DCGs. WOW DCGs looking to pull in even more riders to get even more bodies on board, and looking forward to seeing who's going to be jumping on board the WOW DCG, and hopefully, of course, becoming a member of the DCG gang, Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. So the overhead shot of Jones and Co coming in and through. So it's Jones in that Lamprey-inspired pink and blue kit. It's Fraser who's got the power down. He's gone early at the moment, but Jones is with him. So Fraser winding it up here. So it looks to me like Fraser is going to lead this out. You can see the sparks were flying as he put in that final kick into the line. So it's Andy Fraser who comes through from Electric Spirit. And it's going to be Jones who comes through immediately behind him. Well done, guys. So our next two riders in and through the line, and I think it's going to be Kerr on the climb, and then it's going to be our red beacons there. Team on the way up. So as Kerr makes his way up this climb here, let's jump in and run through a few of those things that you need to remember. It's the end of September. I've got to say a massive, massive thank you to everybody who's been a member of the DCG gang. the members who are the supporters club. They make the whole thing possible for us and myself, and all of that coverage, all of the rides, the planning, the checking it out, making sure that the rides ride right, and of course bringing Russ in as well. Don't forget, of course, that they are all supported by the people that you see on the top of your screen up there. 1080 with the best optics in the business, the best guys for keeping your sight straight and protecting your eyeballs. Very important. No matter what you do, you don't need to be a commentator trying to spot riders to know that these things absolutely critical, particularly out on the bikes. Make sure you get the best in the business, get those Oakleys on. OT, of course, sponsoring this month in September, and all of that hydration, the fluid, the food, the knowledge is there. It's there to support you. 20% discount from OTE 1080, of course, discounting already the best prices on Oakleys that I know of. Then, of course, got Gritty. Great kit, sustainable, doing the least damage to the planet possible, ridden and tested by Neil, who is from Gritty, who's always, almost always on the Chaingang, and of course by Caroline as well. Caroline taking part in the gravel championships, Neil in the Three Peaks at the weekend. And don't forget, if you want to catch up with Neil and how he got on, we're actually recording our next crosscast. That's going to be on Monday, which means it should be out next week, so catch up with that on there. Nonna's, of course, looking after riders. It's been a staple, a stopping point for everybody, from Ben, from Connor Swift, Russ and Dean and myself. Everybody stops off there. Lots of our riders going and calling in there as well. Make sure you support them. And we've got some great stuff coming up from Nonna's, particularly around the Italian Classics week. Velaskin, of course, Chris and Andy have been with us, been looking after riders all the way around the country and around the world. Lots of our pro riders supported by them. And on the Chaingang, if you're a member of the DCG gang, 20%, that's twice the normal discount level, is available anywhere. So make sure you jump on there. It will stop your legs from hurting, your back from hurting. It won't give you the speed of Russ, but it will make sure that you are able to do the best ride that you can. Halo, of course, keeping those wheels spinning. And next month, we're on our month-long run into Halloween. Looking forward to the routes that Russ has got dreamed up. And if you want to get there as quick as possible, make sure that you stick on those Haloers a set of Continental tyres as well, because they are the best things in stopping you getting punctures, and they're going to look after our roads. Got some special offers for the right members of the DCG gang coming up soon. Let's jump back into the ride, because our next rider is on his way into the line. It is going to be Kurt. It's going to be Andrew Kurt coming through from the Epworth Warriors. So Andy with that finish line in sight here, the lap line, the UCI lap line for the 2015 World Championships. Versus again, that's victory as Kerr comes in towards line. It'll just be that warm down left to do, as we see Kerr making his way in through. So well done to Andrew, and that means that we should have two more riders left on course. That is John Garfer and Jim Flynn, our red beacon in the shape of John Garfer, and Jim Flynn on his way down the descent as well here today. So making the way down, coming off that climb, got the right hand turn coming up. They're going to kick right and go up on to the ascent. Currently motoring down here at 57 kilometers an hour. You just see them come around that turn and now up on to what are the cobbles. That junction about to be made onto the cobbles, and that's when things get particularly difficult. Both riders, so look at that, both having a feather in their caskets as they saying goes, as they come in and on to those big slabby cobbles. So up on to the climb they go, and John Garfer and Jim Flynn are next to riders making their way up the climb, and currently at 46.4k, making their way up this cobble climb. You can just see the altitude gain as they come up here, that 11% slope taking its toll on our riders. All made possible, of course, by the team at Zwift. It's a great platform for riding and racing. Been the home of the Donny Chaingang virtual online event since the start of the lockdowns, and Of course, looking forward to a full winter of fun on there. So here we go, about to crest the cobbles, then over the tarmac. It still rises actually as you hit the tarmac, but it's nowhere near as tough because you don't have the cobbles slowing you down. It's going to be John and Jim who come in underneath the KOM banner. So under the shadow of the arch, going under the arch itself, proper they go. And then it is that little bit of a drop. Take the left-hand turn, and then into the final descent of the day. And do 2 right-hand turns, which take them on that run up into the finish. So our riders out on course. The red beacon in there looks like Jim Flynn getting a ghost. He's getting rid of it early. Let me see where he reappears. Notice he goes off the board and onto the board as well, not putting any big attacks there onto our red beacon. Probably a good job. We know that the Royal Navy, Royal Marine in the ship of John Garfoot, our red beacon could certainly fight back. He's been trained for it. So here we go, heading in to the climb, already at 3% for John Garfoot, and Jim Flynn heading in towards the finish and heading up the climb. So great shots from up above, almost a higher flying drone. It's probably near a helicopter shot, to be fair, although it would be a low flying helicopter. Down at this height as John Garfoot and co make their way up in towards the finish. So they're up onto the climb. I think time for one final giveaway as the riders make their way up there. One final pack of OTE goodies coming out to one of the members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. And that is going to be heading out to one of those people who've supported the gang either for a month or right the way through to the end of the season. It's exclusive to them to say thank you from Russ and I, basically, for looking after the gang and being able to donate. We appreciate not everybody can do that. There are the option to put in random buttons on the way through and drop off a random amount in the registration. But please, guys, make sure that when you jump on to the gang, if you are a member, that you make the most of those discounts from people like OTE, as well as having the opportunity to be in with prizes. So the final prize going out on OTE week, don't forget, of course, you can still make the most of that discount up to the end of the month. It's going to be going out, so that pack full of goodies from bottles to gels to bars. Who's going to take that away? Well, it is going to be member number 18. I don't believe it. Well, it's random. It's going to be John Garfoot. I can prove it to you, quite literally. It's just stopped randomly on number 18, and if I can pull the right screen and get this in focus, which is easier said than done, if I find where number 18 is and hold up to the camera, there you go, John Garfer, our red beacon for the day, member of the DCG gang. John Garfer is going to take away the final prize. Good stuff, buddy. So John's going to get all those goodies from OTE, our fantastic supporters of the DCG gang, and a massive thank you to the gang and all of the people who supported it. So well done to John. John's going to take away our last prize of the night, and John, take that away. It's good to see. I think just under a quarter of the gang getting prizes from OTE this month, as well as that massive 25% discount, and that they're keeping that 20% discount all the way through. Don't forget, of course, all of our fantastic sponsors and supporters are going to be bringing you those giveaways, and the discounts are all up on the side of your screen there. They're all under the bottom of our right screen. So please make sure you support the people who support the DCG. You can see them on your screen there, the guys who enable us to say thank you to the people who do donate either monthly or to the end of the season. So John Garford on his way towards the finish. He's going to be preceded over the line by Jim Flynn. So Flynn rolling his way in to the line, keeping those revs nice and high. 94 the cadence from Jim as he comes in to the line with the red beacon behind him. It's going to be Jim Flynn coming in and through, then John Garford immediately behind him. So Jim comes through the finish, then it is going to be John. John, a winner in our eyes straight away because he's a red beacon. He actually managed to win on the giveaway as well. So congratulations to John. Well done, buddy. So with our beacon over the top of the climb, a quick reminder, if you're a member for September, if you're a monthly member and you haven't renewed, that's a few of you, sign up, get joined if you can. Totally appreciate things tight at the moment, and potentially could get a little bit tighter still, but please guys, get yourselves in, and if you can help us keep the show on the road, it's always appreciated by both Russ and myself, Matt Payne. So as we see our red beacon head in to the distance, it just remains from me to say, from Russ, from the team here at Full Speed Events, from Emma, our WOW DCG beacon, make sure you jump on the gang on Tuesday with Russ, on Thursday with Russ, and on the WOW DCG if you are one of our Women Only Wednesday riders. From myself, Matt Payne, enjoy all of the weekend. I'm going to be bringing the XCE World Championships. That's going to be coming out on the City Mountain Bike YouTube site. That's the World Championships coming from Barcelona on Sunday. More esports coming out from Emma and myself as well over the weekend. And then we're going to be recording the crosscast on Monday. That's all before we hit the next DCG on Tuesday. So stay safe, enjoy the weekend. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.